It's the People's 105.5 FM Abuja, the station that is all about you. 10:22 in the nation's capital. The beautiful day in the month of July 2024 is the third day in the month of July. Today is a Wednesday. My name is El Giver, and I told you earlier we'll be having special guests in the studio. Allow me to introduce to you Princess Mwakego Ibrahim Pam, who is the founder and executive director, Petra Speech and Early Childhood Development Center, and Mrs. Mary Rose Lante Briggs, the CEO, Petra Speech and Early Childhood Developmental Center. Good morning and welcome to the studio.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's so good to have you in here. And we're going to be talking about something very important, something a lot of people don't talk about, maybe because of stigmatization and all. They're also here to promote the relaunch of the Child Care Trust Fund, founded by the former First Lady, Mrs. Stella Obasanjo. And we're going to be talking about the needs, of special needs children in Nigeria. Can you tell us about that, Princess Mwakiko?
Thank you very much. I would like to talk about the effects and the development of special needs children in Nigeria. As one of the founding teachers of special needs education in Nigeria around 1994, coming back to Nigeria, I've seen a lot of progress in the handling of special needs children. But I think there's still so much to be done. And that's one of the reasons why I have taken up the MOA with the Child Care Trust in Buhari to try to introduce the clinical aspect of early childhood education in special education. And so we will be working at the Child Care Trust in Buhari, a center founded by the former First Lady, Mrs. Stella Obasanjo. And the primary aim is to relaunch the center to bring it up to standard where the families of special needs parents can find succor. We're trying to create a clinic that will be dealing especially for special needs children and their family. We're also collaborating with international organizations to bring the different expertise that are needed to give the children the clinical, medical assessment and screening that will put them in a position of recovering and developing appropriately according to their different disabilities. And one thing in Nigeria that I like is the spirit of learning fast, adaptability, and openness to new skills. So I'm looking forward to working with all other stakeholders in order for us to provide the necessary technical expertise needed to put the early childhood education, especially for special needs children, at the international standard. And that is what we're looking at doing at the Stella Obasanjo Child Care Trust Center. So we're looking out for people to come and join us, teachers of special needs children, schools with special needs department, medical doctors, nurses, therapists, whatever your expertise are, and if you're willing to join us to put that center at an international stage, we'll be very pleased to have you.
Okay, so while we're talking about special needs and we need to, get people to join in, I want us to, come back and talk about who these special needs children are. Mrs. Mary Rose, can you tell us about this?
In very simple English, a special needs child is a child that doesn't do the same things at the same time. There are developmental milestones that are not reached because possibly the child was born and there was a reduction of oxygen to the brain during the time it was being born. So that child may come out slow. During pregnancy, the child may have leaned on one side more than the other, so it comes out with a limp. There are also children who, for no medical reason at all, come out with disabilities in learning. Some come out blind, some come out deaf, some come out very, very slow. The word that we usually used to use is retarded. They come out with physical disabilities. They look different from everyone else. Some come out with deformities that make people run away from them. And sometimes the parents of these children even put them aside, they hide them away. So we want people to stop hiding these children. We want them to be brought out on time. Because if intervention doesn't come on time, it takes a much, much longer time for them to get better. And definitely there is no child in this world that cannot be educated, that cannot be better. We're trying to see developmental changes, we're trying to see behavioral changes, and those that can read and write, we're going to encourage them to do so. But everybody has something that they can give to society. And that's why we want these children to be noticed. That's why we have this passion to go and help. Because right now they're running at like quarter of their facilities. They have a fantastic place there. So we want to bring attention to this place, this wonderful place. Everybody come and see. This is what has been happening in Nigeria for years. And yet nobody seems to be aware. Let's all put our hands together. We love children. Nigerians are family-oriented people, and we want to work on this.
Okay, Princess Nwakego, coming back to you and talking about the Special Needs Center in Buhari. Can you tell us more about it? There was a trust started by the former First Lady, Stella Obasanjo. Can you tell us about that trust and why now is the time you feel is the right time to, relaunch it?
I'll just tell a little story how I came to know about the center.
Okay.
A friend of mine, an ambassador's wife, that we lived together in South Korea. One of the times I was in Nigeria for vacation, it was having a birthday party, and she invited me, and reluctantly, because I've never been to Buhari before then, so I went with her, only for us to end up at the Child Care Trust Center. And immediately I walked into that structure, my heart lit up. I wasn't even present for the birthday party as much. I started touring the center, and I found out that the former First Lady, Stella Obasanjo, had a foresight to put up such an international standard structure for special needs children overwhelmed me. So when I got there, I started investigating. I talked with the director. I said, I'm interested. That is a pity that the center is running at such a low capacity. That since it's my area, I will be willing to share my expertise with them in terms of technical skills and restructuring and development for the center. So since then, I've been working with the board of trustees of the Stella Obasanjo Center, and I think I would do a dishonor if I want to talk about the Stella Obasanjo Center without having one of the board of trustees here who were there when it was founded with the former First Lady. So all I would say that is a fantastic place. She has a vision. Her vision was to empower special needs children, to introduce them back to society in a manner where they will be respected, in a manner where they can help themselves, in a manner where it brings joy and pride joy to their parents. Because right now, like you rightly said earlier on about the taboos, a lot of parents are in denial of the disabilities that their children are having. Why? Because of the rejections and the taboo. But if we're able to sensitize the parents that every child is special, that every child has something wonderful about them, it's only for us to discover them and then help them through intervention and corrective therapy, then that child can be functional on their own. A lot of children come to intervention very late in life, and at that time, the developmental period of a child is from 0 to 6. When a child comes in for intervention between the ages of 0 to 6, we're able to do a massive mind change and corrective interventions for them, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. And one thing I want to say out there to the parents of special needs children, and guidance and caregiver, with love, a lot of changes can happen in a child. We need to improve the way we handle them, the way we speak to them, the environment where we keep them, and how we talk about them in their presence. And once we are able to establish a standard, a structure that helps with a gradual development of these children, you will be shocked who they are. We don't know them because we classify them by what we see, their physical appearance. There are people who are physically well, but mentally they are not there. So when we talk about special needs children, we're not only talking about deformity. We're not only talking about retardedness. We're not only talking about speech impairment. We now talk about mental health issues in children. These are things that have never been mentioned before. So these are the new changes, not new changes. These are the areas that we want to focus on. These are the areas we want to bring to the knowledge of the public. We have ideas of how to reintegrate these children into society. We're thinking of having an international annual teachers training conference for specialist teachers so that they come to know the best practices around the world, how these children are being taken care of. We also want to introduce, even though when the center started, I was told that the former First Lady, Stella Obasanjo, had summer camps for the specialist children. We want to bring it back again. That specialist children around the country can come to that center and have 1 or 2 weeks of summer camps like other children, for them to meet each other, for them to know that they're not alone in this whole wide world for them. And then thirdly, we also want parents to be involved. This is the area where I'm specialized in. That the first cure for a child is from the mother. The warmth, the voice, the body language of a mother can be the source of joy for a special needs child, because they read the expression, they read your body language, they are very so sensuous in the way they interact with the world. And like Mrs. Lantibri said, that they are just different, they learn differently. There's nothing wrong with them. Most special needs children, even when they don't go through any intervention, if you see their internal skills, some of them are the best artists you can find, dancers, and all the things that require what they know comes at 100% because of all the other senses that have reduced in them. So I really want to appeal to all stakeholders. If you know a family with a special needs child, please, we are waiting. We want to work with them. We want to reintegrate the children back. We want to give hope and love back to the parents. We want the parents to know that this child, there's nothing wrong with them. You can love them. You can love them because in them there is a soul that needs to be nurtured. There is a soul that is looking out to be recognized. There is a soul that wants to connect. And so we cannot put them in isolation. And so the next thing we also want to introduce into this Stella Obasanjo Child Care Center is inclusiveness. We want to bring other children, because you see, when we bring up these special needs children in isolation, we create a different world for them.
Exactly.
And when we don't make other children recognize that these other children are also normal, there's something about them that is special, then we create a world where special needs children do not have a chance to be recognized, to be appreciated, or be respected. So you see, the dualness of education is to make people who feel they have it all to also appreciate people who they think do not have it all. So like we were just saying this morning, some have food but cannot eat, and some can eat but have no food. That is the situation of the special needs children we're talking about here. Most of them come from wealthy homes, but they do not have the benefit of enjoying that wealth because their parents do not see them worthy for them to spend money on them. So anything that concerns them is at the end side of the ladder. They hide them, they lock them up, they look for one person that will interact with the child. You're killing that child slowly. Bring that child out to us. We have the skills, we have the facilities to help your child live a fruitful, healthy life, to appreciate for the rest of their life that yes, they did exist. Yes, they were loved. Yes, they know they were not alone. Please, wherever you are and you're listening to me, bring your child to the Child Care Trust for us to examine them, screen them, re-elevate them for you, and give your child a chance to live and live well. Thank you.
I want to ask a question. You were talking about the developmental stage of children. You just said 0 to 6. Is it 0 to 6 months or 0 to 6 years?
Thank you. 0 to 6 years. That is the gap. At that stage in life, a child is like a sponge.
Okay, they're able to absorb.
They are able to absorb. And when you remember what the Bible says, teach a child the way he should grow, and when he grows up, he will not depart from it. Exactly the principle behind the early childhood education, that if you expose them early enough to intervention, they absorb it. They are retuned children. These children, we call them color-coded. If you teach them every day the same thing for 1 to 2 years, they master it. and they cannot change that routine. But when they don't have a structure, that is why you find parents finding difficulties in loving them, in keeping them, because then their behavioral disability do not allow them to conform to the norm. They're not meant to conform to the norm. The families are meant to conform
to them. Okay, so now talking about families conforming to them, they're not supposed to conform to the norm. If you have these children and you are with them at that developmental age and they grow up, how are they able to reintegrate back into society? Because it doesn't look like our society is accessible enough for these kids. So how are they able to reintegrate back into the society?
Yes, I remember a few years ago when I came back and I went to the special needs department in FCT, and I met with Mrs. Onikulu. Then she was the director there, and we had a lot of discussion about the curriculum. As basic as curriculum we do not have. The curriculums we have are meant for the blind and the hearing impaired, but when you talk about special needs children, it's a spectrum. You cannot even imagine the different delays, different disability.
You can't put them all in a box.
You cannot put them in the box. And so, for us to be able to do what you're asking us to do, we have to have the foundation. We must have the materials, we must have the policies, we must have the infrastructure that will help these children to adapt to society. And that is why the special needs education in Nigeria is segmented. No, now you see that private sector is cashing in on these special needs children because it's a lot of money, and parents are so tired of handling their children. They look for a safe place to dump them, but we don't have to do that to them. We need to agitate for the policies of the Ministry of Education to change concerning special needs. They need to identify that apart from blind people and hearing impaired people, there are other children, even though they look physically okay, are not developing at the rate they should develop. So we need educators, we need policy makers, we need stakeholders to come to a conference and let us start developing structures and policy that will get a child that after 0 to 6, we move them to a different stage where if they are academically sound to pursue formal education, we put them through formal education. If they are to go through vocational education, we also, according to their talents and according to their skills, we develop them vocationally so that for those who go into vocational skills, they are able to create incomes for themselves in organized and supervised environment. And for those of them who will neither go through academic, formal education or skill acquisition that needs to be rehabilitated in a home, then we need to have those facilities that can take care of them. They don't have to be home. And those facilities can be developed in such a manner that it is a holistic center where it takes care of the child emotionally, physically, and otherwise, medically. Because such children are more medically inclined to be taken care of. Because you cannot take them, they're not at the capacity of learning anything academic, neither are they in any physical position of acquiring skills. So there is so much to be done. And all we're asking is the willingness and the openness of both the society, the parents of these children, and every stakeholder that is in a position of policy, that is in a position to release the funding for this special needs education to get to the standard where it's performing in the Western world.
All right, you're still listening to the People's 105.5 FM Abuja, and this is the Midday Show. I have got amazing guests in the studio. We're talking about the special needs children and the center in Abuja. We're talking with Princess Nwakego Ibrahim Pam, who is the founder and executive director of Petra Speech and Early Childhood Development Center, and Mrs. Mary Rose Lante Briggs, the CEO, Petra Speech and Early Childhood Developmental Center. I want to talk about the parents, the role parents have to play. You said, Princess Nwakego, you said that you're passionate about the parents.
Yeah.
Parents who have special needs kids. Let's not talk about the ones who have, hidden their kids away. Those who maybe just gave birth to your child is growing up, and you're thinking, the other kids, started crawling around this age. The other kids started walking around this age. There's something wrong here. How can these parents change their mindset, into accepting this child, that this child is not different from the others that they have? What can they do? Because some of them look at this child and be like, either it's something that is wrong with me, or sometimes because they have a special needs kid, it then causes problems in their home. So what can they do? How can they change their mindset towards these children?
Before I answer your question, I want to give you a little bit of background. The process does not start with the delivery. The process starts with the nurturing of the pregnancy. The day of the delivery is the role of the medical team. See, that's where there's a disconnect. Because when the child is delivered, there are certain tests that are immediately required on the child to know if this child is normal or abnormal.
Do we have those tests done in Nigeria when people just go to the hospitals and give birth?
Yes. I don't think it's spontaneous. It's only when the mother has spent 3 or 5, 6 months with the baby, and then she notices that the baby is not responding to her voice, or the baby's eye, even though open, is not following the object, or the limbs are weak, the muscles are weak, and then the parents start going back to hospital. At that time, they've lost touch with what the process of taking care of this child means. So now they don't go back to where the child was delivered. They go to any nearby clinic, and before 3-4 years, they have gone through 20 doctors who have prescribed and diagnosed different ailments before finally it will dawn on them, no, I have to go to a serious doctor. I really need to find out what is wrong with my baby. But if we have a system in place at every birth, a child is given a well-being check, whether the child can see, the child can hear, check the tongue, if there's a tight tongue, do those initial. So at birth it's recorded, at birth this child can, we observe that it's a normal child, etc. I'm not a medical person, I don't know if it happens, but a lot of times these disabilities are discovered by the parents at home, maybe few months after delivery, or even years after delivery. So we need to put that we need to have medical personnel who are specialized in this area of special needs. That immediately they see a baby, they will have the process in place. They will tell madam, please, after 1 week, bring your child back. There's something we observe. We want to send the child to a special unit. Do you understand? And that special unit will now do the intensive clinical examination for this child. And once we catch it early, then the parents is already, her mindset, you see where I'm going to? Her mindset is already changing that, okay, I know what is wrong. This might not be a regular baby. There may be 1 or 2 difficulties I'll be facing. But you know why the parents go into denial? It comes on them after they've, everybody has come and greeted them with a beautiful baby. They don't want to go back to tell them that beautiful baby has one problem or the other. So they start hiding the child. And so that is the first step of denial. Then we have another habit that, when something is wrong with your baby, it's either that people from your village or something. That is a huge impediment to the developmental intervention of children. So they will go to churches. I have nothing against churches. God performs miracle, and in a little while a child normalizes. But the first point of call will be the hospital, a specialist hospital that deals with children, for them to be examined to see what is the problems. And another thing we don't have, we have children delivered 6 months, 7 months, 8 months before they go back. Apart from going for immunization and all those other appointments, you need to constantly ask questions about, know the benchmark for development for your children, and don't compare your children to other children, because sometimes that is also the pressure that the parents have, and then they label their children. So stigmatization is one of the problems. Lack of information is second, the disconnect between medical personnel and the needs of special needs is the third one, then the refusal and denial of parents to acknowledge that this baby is special is the fourth one. The denial of the parents is lowest, because then it's difficult for them to change their mindset that this child is no longer what they
We're expecting.
they were
That
expecting.
child is now special needs. So these are the challenges
Yes.
these children face.
And another thing I would like to add here, and that ties in with what we're doing at this child care trust, it takes a lot of finances. It takes a lot of emotional care. It takes a mother the option of opting out of being a career woman and being a stay home mom to just basically tie her life to this child. A lot of, for the past 30 years I've been doing with special needs children and their families, I've seen a lot of families break up because of a special needs child in the family. It consumes the emotional attention of the mother, it consumes the financial pocket of the family. It is kind of isolating, because then they have to pick places they have to go to, they have to pick friends, because they need to keep the semblance of normality in their family. So for that reason, we need people who are capable, that have the finances to come invest in this center, so that parents who are unable to take care of their children because of lack of finances and because of information, we have access to this center, and these children's needs will be met, and you also will be happy, and you'll be able to tell the world that yes, I am a mom of a special needs child. In one way or the other, we all are special. We all are special, but theirs are more obvious, and theirs need more care and more attention. So please come join us.
All right, so Mrs. Lante Briggs, let's come back to the Child Care Trust Center in Buari. Can you tell us where exactly in Buari it's located? Let's have the address, for parents who are listening and saying, you know what, I have a special needs kid. I need to bring my child to this center. We need to see what these people are doing. And also tell us what facilities are in there, what they are going to expect if they bring their kids there.
We are located very close to the law school. It's a very large premises, lots of green grass. The classrooms are very airy. There's a clinic there that has x-ray facilities. It has a laboratory. There's an information room where you can use your computers. There's a therapeutic room for massages. There's a dining room. There's a kitchen. There are hostels for the children. There are staff quarters. There's playground with play equipment, and everything in there is built so with rounded edges, so there's nothing that can hurt a child in there. The drainage is fantastic, so even if it's raining, they can walk and they still have grip on the ground. It's just built basically for people that are challenged, so that they can move around very easily. The spaces within which they move are familiar to them. The number of staff per child is like 1 to 4 right now. So they are well cared for. They're very clean. They have a laundry. They have their own water plant. They can supply water to people outside of the center as well. There's a water treatment plant where they bottle their water and everything. Basically, it's a very beautiful place.
So, for the parents who are bringing their kids, is there an age limit?
No.
So it's any child?
Except for those who are breastfeeding. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's say some people still breastfeed at 1 year old.
Oh yeah, I breastfed for almost 2 years.
So let's say from 3 and above.
Yeah.
Right. As long as the child is special needs.
Like she said, we're trying to introduce inclusivity. So if we're going to have a creche, then we can have young children as well, who will be younger than 3. And from that age, we will be teaching them that everybody is the same. When we were growing up in Nigeria, everybody was the same. We were never allowed to make fun of people. In fact, in Benue State, where I come from, There are so many crazies in every single family. They come in, they sit down, they are well entertained, and the family takes it upon themselves to find a wife or a husband for such a person. And they give birth to normal children. So in the local way, we have always taken care of our own. Now what we're trying to do is expand it, and because people are educated now, there's a lot of pretense. There's a lot of people thinking, oh, I don't want to be seen with this type of person. It doesn't rub well on me. That's why I'm just trying to make it very, very simple. So we hide our people away. Almost every single one of us has somebody with special needs in our families. I have taught many special needs children in inclusive settings, and some of the other teachers wouldn't take them, so they were brought to my class, and they performed well. So you need to treat everybody as an individual. Many of these people have gone on to university. Many of them are taking care of their families, and they still have the special needs. But if they didn't have people in their lives at one point in time who said, you can do it, and I'm going to watch and make sure you do it, I will not do it for you. No matter how long it takes, this task, you will start it, you will go through the process, and you will complete it. That's just what we want you to do.
Can anyone bring their kids, or is there a special process into, admitting these kids into the center? Do they have to, I don't know how to put it, but
They should just come.
Anyone can come?
Yes. They should just come.
You
if
had
they
to.
have, yes, if they have any special needs, if they have special care, they will tell us. We will examine.
Okay.
We will listen to what they say. We will examine, and then we will decide whether or not we're going to go ahead with their own intervention or introduce them to another way of taking care of their child. Because it's going to be a joint collaboration. We're not going to take the children over from them. We're going to work with them, and any parent who is not ready to be admitted together with their children shouldn't bother coming.
Thank you for saying that. So now the parents and the children are going to be admitted to the center. It is not just you carrying your special needs child and coming to.
No. I forget about them.
No.
You need to know what we're doing so that you'll continue at home.
All right.
I want to follow up with that question. Like I said, parental involvement is very crucial to every child, to every academic, emotional, physical, or spiritual development of the child. The first tutor or teacher is the mom or the father. And we're trying to introduce a policy where if during the process of admission, both parents will have to come. Because more often than not, it's just the mothers we see. So we want to change the culture that a special needs child only belongs to the mother. We want fathers. We want to see fathers come with their sons and their daughters, because that is the first step of therapeutic healing for that child. So the process we are putting in place is that it's going to be a holistic thing. It's going to be a family, so that by the time the child is coming home from the center, she's also, or he is being reintegrated into a similar setting. Because what happens is that they bring the special needs children to the center, and we do all the intervention for the term they've been with us, and then they go back home and there's no continuity, and there's no routine life for them. So it's as if each time that the children comes back, we are starting from zero again. So we need the parents to work with us, to know the skills and the activities that we do with the children, so that at home they can continue with them. And by the time the children are coming back, they have moved a step higher than when we sent them home, and then we can continue. But lots of time, parents are so busy. I understand the economic situation in Nigeria is making everybody over busy, and naturally Nigerians were busy people. But we're just asking if you can just spare 2-3 hours a day for your special needs child, just like you spare for the homeworks of the other children at home. You will see a vast change in the developmental process of your special needs child.
Thank you so much for being in the studio. This was such an enlightening conversation. Do you have anything else you want to throw in that we may not have touched on before we wrap up?
Yes, thank you. I would like to invite the public. In the process of the relaunch of the Child Care Trust in Buhari, we have 3 activities going on as we speak. we want to invite the media and the stakeholders and parents of special needs children for a tour of the center on the 22nd of July 2024 at 10 a.m. prompt. We want you to come and inspect the center with us and get a feel of what these children will be experiencing if you're a stakeholder with us, if you will contribute financially, if you will contribute your time, if you will contribute materially to ensure that these vulnerable children are well taken care of at our center. We have the relaunch of the center on the 22nd of August 2024. At that relaunch, we're asking for people who will commit to a yearly support of the center for the therapeutic expenses of the center. They are usually so huge for parents that parents are unable to pay for therapy, the different therapies that they will need. But we have designed a structure where if we get sponsored for the year, all the children that come to the center will be taken care of for their speech therapy, any physio or physical, any therapy they want, and medical treatment will be given to them free of charge. But we need donors. We need people who will contribute to ensuring that the hostels are conducive. We need CCTVs. We need a lot of things. We need factories that produce food to constantly supply food to the center. So because another thing that helps with the health of a special needs child is their diet.
Exactly.
Is their diet. If they are fed with wrong food, especially for the Down syndrome children who are prone to obesity, then you see them going beyond control. We need a good clinic at the center where I will also use the Down syndrome child because with them you can now spread their needs around the other disabilities. They need to check their eyes all the time. They need to check their dentition, their tolerance. So the needs of the special needs child is something that cannot be overlooked. It is a routine. They have to be routinely checked, medically, routinely examined physically. We also need a lot of collaboration because if the children are just kept at the center, then they do not know the world outside the walls of the center. So we're looking for people who can, create activities for them. We're looking to ask the government if a special park can be given to us to equip that will be meant for special needs children and their family, so that these children also can have the feel of going to a special needs park that will be open to other people, but it will be primarily
for
and
them.
mainly made for the convenience of a special needs child. So these are the things we have in the pipeline. So anybody listening to us, please, you can contact us.
Yes.
And we're able to reach you. You can send us an email at petraspeech@yahoo.com. You can reach us. What is my number again? Okay,
Let me look for it.
Okay, I have it
We
here.
also wanted to say a big thank you to Friesland because they've been supplying milk from inception and they haven't stopped.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
They're the only people, they're the only donors who have never missed their donations. So we want to say a special thank you to them, and we also want to ask that snacks don't come in. Yeah. If you're going to make donations, let be real
Food, not
not
junk.
snacks, because that can increase somebody's activity who already has attention deficit disorder.
Yes.
Okay. So you can contact us at petraspeech@yahoo.com, and then my Nigerian number is +234 818 612 859, and my US number is +1321 462 7280. And Mrs.
Ma'am, slowly. I'm even in the studio with you. I'm trying to write down the number and it's too fast.
Okay, I'm going to take that again.
Okay.
Sorry. My Nigerian number is +234 818 612 1859. My US number +132 146 272 80. And Mrs. Mary Lante Breaks will be giving her phone number too. Thank you.
Plus 234 708 76 71 4171
4171. All right, please call the number again.
0708
Mm-hmm.
76. Wait.
Isn't this so amazing to not know your number by heart?
Oh,
I know it, but I don't know.
All right, but if you want to send an email, you can send it to petraspeech@yahoo.com. Petra is spelled Petra,
Yes.
speech SPEECH @yahoo.com. All right. Mrs. Lante Briggs, I'm waiting for your number.
Okay, let's go again. Plus 234
Mm-hmm.
708
Yes.
67
67.
14 171.
Okay. 0708 671
Yeah.
4171.
Correct.
All right, and if you want to reach out to them to be a part of what they are doing at the Childcare Trust Center in Buari is here in Abuja. Please reach out to them and be a part of it. They need donors, they need sponsors. Can people volunteer?
Yes,
Oh, that would be
yes,
wonderful.
yes. We need volunteers. We're already collaborating with the National Teachers Institute so that they can send their graduating students for practicals or internships with us, so that the teacher ratio to the children will
Is
be
higher.
higher. And then we also have the process of training. You see, what happens is that from my own interaction with people dealing with special needs, they are not trained. They're not special needs people. There are people who found out that they can make some money from special needs, and then they've gone through the process of doing online certification or going to a special needs center and learning on the job. But there's a difference between somebody learning on the job and somebody who has an innate knowledge of the skill. And so that's what we want to introduce. Introducing people who have an innate knowledge, that have spent years in the acquiring the skills and the knowledge that fits into the field, to also come and join these people with passion. We do not discountenance anyone who has a passion, even though you're not a special needs teacher, but we're actually encouraging everyone who is in the special needs education to come and be part of us, to use your skills that you've been taught in school, because there's a difference, a big difference with that. And so everyone is welcome, but please, we need collaborators who want to work with schools with special needs children. There is no competition, please. We are all working towards the health and development of these special needs children. We are willing to work with you at your pace, at your facility, and at the structure we have. All we want to introduce is a technical skills of clinical assessment, academic assessment, emotional assessment, and behavioral assessment of the children, and introduce you to a pattern of evaluation and a pattern of integration of the children to the different levels of their mental development.
Thank you so much for coming in. Wish you all the best. Thank you so much for what you do, because it's not easy. And not everybody will take up this mantle to say, I want to care for special needs children. So thank you so much for what you do.